First appearing in 2008, The Strangers are making their way back to theaters with The Strangers Chapter 1, the first part in a brand new trilogy. Can they manage to recapture the magic that captivated audiences nearly 2 decades ago? Let's find out. Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to the channel. As always, I am your host Brett Murphy, and for today's video, I have a brand new ranking for you all, as I am going to be ranking all 3 of the Strangers movies. Before I hop into the actual ranking itself, I just wanted to let you all know that I have an entire playlist dedicated to all of my ranking videos. There are well over 100 videos in that playlist for you to enjoy, so if movie rankings are your thing, then be sure to check that out, and I guarantee you'll find something you like. And so, without further ado, let's hop right into things.
Hooray!
Kicking us off at number 3 is going to be the recently released Strangers Chapter 1. And I can pretty much summarize this entry in one word: garbage. A half-assed rehash of the original and vastly superior movie. There is not an ounce of tension to be found throughout the entire runtime. It is a jump scare fest where every single jump scare is set up as predictably as it gets, and the feeble attempts at misdirection are laughably bad. The movie does absolutely nothing to surprise or shock. It features 2 of the dumbest, poorly written protagonists I've seen in a while. Even the titular strangers feel like lifeless shells of their former selves, lacking even the little hints of personality they had before. I genuinely do feel bad for Madeleine Petsch though. She's acting her ass off, trying her best, but she is given nothing to work with, and she gets literally no help at all throughout the whole movie. There is one decent sequence involving a crawl space, some nice scenery I guess, and a decent soundtrack, but that's about all I can give it. Also, I personally found this somehow dragged. Despite only being a flat 90 minutes, the original was 86 minutes and Prey at Night was 85 minutes, yet somehow this new entry felt like an entire half hour longer. Now, I'm just left wondering, are they actually expecting people to go see a second, let alone a third of these? I mean, I have my doubts. If I was a betting man, I think you'll see the next 2 heading straight for Netflix, where they probably should have been in the first place. And now, at the number 2 spot, yes, the runner-up already, is The Strangers Prey at Night. With this being such a short ranking, I am sure you can guess which one will be in that number 1 spot. Which means I feel safe in saying that I did not find this one to be quite as good as the original, but it's still admittedly a fun watch. It sucks to say, but the only character I liked was the son/brother played by Lewis Pullman. The parents kinda sucked and were barely in it. They also killed off Christina Hendricks way too fast for anyone's liking, and I found I was on and off with the daughter. At times, I found her performance completely uninspired, with forced lines, cheap reactions, and little chemistry with her castmates. However, other times it felt like she was really committing to the bit. Though I think a lot of that probably does come down to the painfully generic dialogue more than her actual performance. I can confidently say that this movie definitely has so much more flavor than the first did, from the soundtrack to the lighting to the setting and just the overall vibe of the movie. There are some decent jump scares that they actually managed to pull off. I am not normally a fan of jump scares, as they feel like cheap cop-outs to make the audience scream, but sometimes they can be well executed, and there were a few in here. The ending does go a little too off the rails for me though, and then it just sort of quickly wraps up, like super quick. I found it a little odd myself. Nevertheless though, it never managed to feel as claustrophobic as the first, nor did the characters feel as helpless. Again, a fun watch, really, but it lacks the punch of the original. Although I do also have to say that this movie features a line that goes almost as hard as "because you were home" from the original, where one of the strangers, Dollface, replies, "Why not?" with a devilish smile, and I loved that. And now, of course, coming in at the #1 spot is going to be The Strangers 2008. I surprisingly loved this movie. Scanning through some reviews before watching it for the first time had me going in with low expectations, but I personally ended up being pleasantly surprised. It wastes no time getting into it, and then it's just 80 minutes of genuine dread and terror. Most of the time, it felt so real, just a random act of violence. The opening bit with the statistics, regardless of their accuracy, sets things up perfectly. The movie takes its time in building up this sense of isolation. The 2005 setting makes it all the more terrifying due to the limitations of cell phones, and gives us just enough of the characters to understand who they are and their relationship to one another. It does a superb job at feeling eerie the whole way through, and almost mean-spiritedly brutal at times. But in the end, that kind of gives this movie an extra bit of charm. I feel like that's one of the main reasons people have continued to remember and talk about it. I also adore its subtlety too. Yes, there are basic jump scares throughout, but there are plenty of moments where most movies today would have some loud audio cue, and this one just lets us sit in the suspense, as our lead characters continue forward completely oblivious to what's going on behind them. And don't get me started on "because you were home." Chills. Every damn time I hear that line, even before I saw the movie, this ending was etched into my mind from years of YouTube consumption. One of the coldest lines in horror movie history. No motive whatsoever. It was all just for fun. Maybe not even that. Just for something to do. Though this movie does lose a few points for some lazy dialogue, and the strangers occasionally have inexplicable supernatural powers where they just magically disappear, and it's not the most original movie either. I think the reason that the other two haven't been able to come close to this one though, at least for me, is because everyone thought this was going to be another generic home invasion movie, or another generic slasher movie, and in some ways it definitely is. But it surprised people. It certainly surprised me. So that is all for today's video, folks. Be sure to let me know down in the comments below if you agree or disagree with my ranking. While you're at it, don't forget to let me know how you would have ranked all 3 of the Strangers movies, and if you think this new trilogy will end up getting a full theatrical release after all. As a reminder, this is the revamped BAMTube movies, and it is your one stop for everything movies. Be it rankings like this one, video essays, top 10s, versus videos, tier list videos, I have it all and so much more, along with your daily nerdy news wrap-ups. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that little bell icon so you don't miss a thing. And as always, folks, I thank you all so very much for watching. Stay happy, healthy, and safe out there. From myself and the rest of the BAMTube team, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time, and that's a wrap.